Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of The Owner's Box. I'm Billy Koch, founder and managing partner of the Little Red Feather Racing Club. Joining me alongside, as always, is the great, talented Michelle Yu, fresh back from the Saudi Cup. What a trip you had. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
thank you. I'm glad to be back here. The trip was awesome. The country has really opened up. I mean, every year it's gotten a little bit more lenient. This year it pretty much felt like Dubai almost.
Really, what does that mean for people who don't know what opened up means?
So it was, not that long ago,
I mean, I know you're
obviously.
probably talking about like having champagne. Is that what you mean? Is
No,
that
no, there's still no alcohol. No, there's no alcohol still. But a very few years ago, it was a pretty heavy-handed regime that was very Islam heavy, and there was mandatory burqas and everything like that.
right?
Now, since I've been going, a couple years before I started, which was 5 years ago, the Crown Prince did lift that ruling on compulsory burqas or hijabs. He's allowed women to have jobs and go to school and do things without male supervision, right? So it
Fantastic.
was already kind of trending towards what we expect as far as equality goes. But since the first year I went, I feel like people were a little more hesitant for women to kind of be out and
Yeah.
about, and they still did have like segregated places to eat and go to Starbucks and all that.
Wow.
And I mean, like this year, we're calling Ubers and taking Ubers, and you walk wherever you want, and it's not even looked at twice. And so we had a really good time this year. We we did more stuff this year, I think, that we've done like any other year combined. We went like go-kart driving one night, and we went to the mall a couple of times, and we were out and about like at like their big public spaces for dinner. We went to this place called the Boulevard, which is like a mini Epcot. Like it's like 20 countries of the world set around like a lake, and they have
Oh,
like the main tourist places from each country. It was really cool. We had a really good time. It was
what did they have from the US? Like, what did they have something from the US?
Yeah, so they
Like,
had Las
okay.
Vegas, right? They
Are
had
they,
Las Vegas. So they had
yeah,
the Sphere, but it was like a little smaller, but it was the Sphere. And then they had San Francisco, or what do you call it? San Francisco. And then
yeah.
they had, oh, my light died.
Wow, Twilight.
Wow, by light. And what else did they have? They had Huntington Beach, and they had
Okay.
like these big whales that like came out, and they had
Big
the
whales,
dinosaur.
small whales. Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the
It's like
scope?
I mean, not like life size, but pretty
Oh, it's
damn
big.
big. I don't know if
I
I
think-
got any pictures of the actual whale.
Let me just say
Um,
this as let me say this as a fan while you fix your light. I thought you were fantastic on the show. I thought it was one of your
Aw,
best that
thank
you have.
you.
I've watched all your stuff from TVG to Fox to this show, which I think was on Fox. And you are in the 5 years we've been doing this for probably like 10 years, but in the 5 years you've been doing that show. And I remember I was critical of you when you came back that first time,
Yeah.
um, from the you guyses to just some of the way some of the things.
Michelleisms?
Yes, the Michelleisms, and you have transformed into this like uber professional, but yet still you bring your energy and your fun, and it's a treat to listen to you. So I think
Oh,
I speak
thanks.
for a lot of
I'm
people.
blushing.
No, listen, I speak the
That's
truth,
really
and you
nice.
know that. If there was something that I wasn't crazy
Oh
about,
yeah, you for sure. For
and
sure.
I thought for the amount that I watched, which was probably, I don't know, a couple hours maybe, I thought it was really good. I thought your rapport with Nick Luck is tremendous, and I'm just really proud of you. There you go.
Oh, thanks, Billy.
Yeah.
Except that I didn't like the Japanese horse in the dirt sprint. That kind of threw me off.
Yeah, that horse ran pretty awesome. Man, did he
Yeah,
get
he
low.
did. He did.
Let's just talk about that day, because that was basically the big day of what
Mhm.
we have to recap. And then we have on our
Oh
show,
yeah, we haven't even talked about our guest.
yeah, the winner, the owner of Senor Buscador, which is so excited. Joey has been on our show before. Before we went video, this is going to be a new treat. We get to actually see his face, and we'll find out about his trip to Saudi, which seemed to be pretty awesome. I
Yeah.
do want to find out about he made a deal, and I want people to know that he did some kind of deal with I don't know the name of
Yes,
the
with a Saudi businessman. He did
businessman,
a deal for
like a
partial
lease, a
ownership.
two-race lease,
Partial
a two-race
ownership.
lease. Yeah,
Yes.
of Senor
And
Buscador.
he
Someone
wasn't the
found out
only
about
one. There were multiple people that were
yeah,
US based that were selling out portions of their horse for these big days so that the Saudi interests could have their silks carried.
that's right. Which I don't blame him. We'll find out about all of that when Joey Peacock joins us in a couple of minutes. Michelle, what else did you obviously Senor Buscador highlighted the day? You want to talk about that race a little bit? You want to talk about the rest of the card? I'm going to leave it
I
up to
mean,
you.
I think we're going to talk plenty about that race. So let's just save that for Joey. I thought from an undercard standpoint, I thought it was just a really good race day all around. I was absolutely gutted for the Bookham Dano connections. We'll have to have them on our show. You know, they shipped him over there. He was, looked like a winner. And then the
Long
Japanese horse on the outside just kind of wearing him down. It was no fair because Bookham Dano didn't get the opportunity to like see him and re-rally, because the horse was so far outside.
Yeah. Well, that horse, the Japanese horse, is very well bred.
Yeah.
And he looks like he could be a Kentucky Derby candidate. So,
well, I mean, that's what they want. Look, I feel like it's crazy though. Isn't it crazy to go from like here to Meydan and try and take that route to the Derby? Like, if this is just me.
You're talking about Forever Young?
Yeah. If I was thinking Derby, I would maybe ship him to California and pick up some points over here.
Run in a small field. Yeah, we have a 3-year-old race in California. Just so everybody knows, when they are listening to this, probably tomorrow, Friday, we will post this. But Santa Anita has canceled the races on Saturday.
They haven't canceled. They have shifted.
I was getting there. They have moved shifted the entire Saturday Big Cap card to Sunday because of the rain. The Sunday card will now be moved to Monday. They are taking entries for that as we speak. Going back to the Saudi Cup, I was impressed. I thought everything went well. I mean, I thought some of the turf races were really exciting. I'd like to see more like the turf stars there, but I guess this is kind of like break time for a lot of turf stars, right?
Well, I don't want to say it's like break time. I feel like it's kind of back in the action time, but also we have to look at the races they have. They have a one sprint, right? And then they've got 2 stayer races, and the stayer races are where we're lacking. So we're just not going to see horses that we're as familiar with. And obviously the last couple of years, we've seen some really bang up horses in there. Siskany was in there. We saw Stradivarius. And I mean, we've seen some really big names, obviously Mostadaf. But because we don't have an interest in there, it's A, hard, and then B, to have these stayers, kind of ready to go. I feel like we get a lot of the horses that have maybe started in like Bahrain and Meydan because they've already kicked off their year. We just don't have as many horses that like in the thick of summer are going to be running at that top tier stayer distance. It would be really nice if they had a mile. I feel like the mile race would be a really nice, addition.
Yeah, it would be. But all right. Well, excellent job by you. Good job. And we're going to get Joey Peacock on the line soon. Michelle, what's going on? What else did we miss? I know you probably
over here on the home front, we had the Rebel Stakes, which was won by Timberlake for Windstar Farms. Florent Giroux obviously was in Saudi to ride, so he was talking to us. He's like, "Well, I hope I get this mount back on Timberlake."
Yeah, he ran pretty awesome. I thought he was very impressive. I remember. I'll give you guys a tip. I talked to Blake Cox several years ago. When Mandaloon.
Did you think it was Brad and you just talked to him, or like did you know it was Blake?
No, I knew it was Blake. What? They don't even look that much. He looks a lot younger.
Oh my gosh, people do that constantly. Like in Saudi, it was like Brad. I'm like, Blake, it's not Brad, guys. It's not Brad.
True story. I was in the backstretch going to look at Hot Rod Charlie with Bill Strauss, and we happened to walk right by Blake, and he said, "You guys got to come over here and see this horse." And we're like, "Who's this?" This is Mandaloon. He's going to run huge in the Derby. And we were like, "Oh, okay. All right." Well, he did run huge in the Derby. Well, Blake Cox told me this year, he said, Timberlake is the guy.
All right, so the inside info.
He didn't run huge in the Breeders' Cup. He ran okay, but they gave him time. He looked pretty awesome the other day. I think him and the horse that we talked about the weekend before, the Chad Brown horse.
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. I mean, those two to me look very, very strong right now. Of course, and we're going to talk about it again as we get close to the Derby. Without the Baffert horses involved, which is a joke. There you go. I said it.
Well, okay, so that was the first
But
thing.
you get to see Nisos this weekend. How excited are you to see Nisos on Sunday? And
Nisos!
And then he can't run the Kentucky Derby. Like, it's crazy.
Right. I mean, look, it's crazy, but look at that. Now they're like, oh, Preakness future wager favorite,
yeah,
right?
I love that.
Right? Sure. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna, you know what? It's like Derby's not even a thing. We're just gonna skip right over that, and we're just gonna say, hey, you know what we're gonna do with the Preakness? The Preakness is gonna, be a big race this year, because maybe we'll end up with like a really great showdown then, because then all of a sudden we'll have like the best of the West versus whoever wins the Derby, and the Preakness all of a sudden becomes a huge deal, right? Because a lot of times if a lot of horses from the Derby don't come into the Preakness, it gets kind of ignored, especially if the Derby winner doesn't win it. But now it's going to be a showdown, because now it's legitimately like, who's the best?
And who loves the Preakness? Are we having our dinner again?
Well, I hope so. I hope I get to go. I don't know.
That dinner was really funny last year.
It was delicious.
Who was MVP? Zoe Cadman? Christina
Me.
was you and Zoe. Yeah, you guys are the
MVP. Lair Bear was MVP.
Lair Bear was good. All right, let's take a quick break, and let's.
We have more things to say.
What?
Okay. First is, I'm so sad Mr. Big died.
Yeah, very sad.
Albert Sire. He was actually 21 years old. I had no idea he was that old.
No, he was a good California sire. Very good. All those big horses.
I want to give congratulations out to the Toba member of the month, and that is Jim and Dana Bernhard, who are the Pin Oak people. With they had Go Rocket Ride. Most recently, they have Parchment Party, so congratulations to them. Maybe we'll get them on the show. I've tried to get them on the show a couple times. They're a little squirrely.
Yeah, a little squirrely. They don't understand the power of the pod.
Right. Also, I thought it was very cool that the Fasig-Tipton digital sale had like such a great turnout, and the sales topper was named Pounce. She was $370,000. She actually won an allowance on 211. She was sold on the platform 9 days later for $370,000, and now she's entered in the Here Comes the Bride Stakes. So the digital platforms are very cool because you can, it's awesome, right?
We sold a mare on there, and we bought a horse. So I think these digital sales are, and we brought it to California. It's going to run hopefully at the end of the month.
What'd you buy?
We bought a horse named Mo's a Handful. He's a 4-year-old gelding that broke his maiden for 12.5 at Fairgrounds by 15 lengths.
Nice.
So he's eligible for a lot, and they're training in Southern California.
That's it. We bid on a couple. They went a little bit above what we could pay because we're poor, but I think it's awesome. It's a great way to look at other horses, right?
Not that much.
Well, more than we could pay. Also, just want to mention too, if you are looking into new horses, not only does Fasig do a monthly digital sale, but we also have some live action coming up. So we've got the OBS sale in March. The sale dates are the 12th, the 24th. The undertack is 6 through 9.
No, 12th through the 24th. 12th through the 14th.
Oh, 14th. Sorry. Yeah. Joey, we see you. We'll get with you just 1 second. 12th to 14th, and the undertack show is 6th through the 9th. And I just want to kind of like highlight, since we're talking Saudi, Saudi Crown, Ben Tornado, and Bold Journey were all OBS graduates.
We should have Wojo back on. You want to have Wojo on maybe next week?
Would love to.
Okay.
Also, the Texas 2-year-old sale, it happens April 3rd, and that book is out already, and that's going to be a breeze up show as well. Maybe not as popular as OBS, but maybe worth a look, just because they do have some really great sire power in that book, and the price point might be a little bit lower than we're going to see at OBS.
Are you going to OBS? Will you be there?
I don't know yet. Possibly. Right. And then we also have Goffs coming up on April 23rd, 24th. That book is out as well. And there's some really nice sire power in there as well, if you're looking for a little bit more of a Euro flair.
Can I say one more thing before we bring in Joey? I hope you have 2 more things. I have one more thing. Did you? Were you going to mention Light Up Racing?
Yes.
Okay, because we had them on the show. Mm-hmm. And they had their first meeting.
Town hall. Mm-hmm.
It went very well. I mean, from
a ton of people.
A lot of people were there. They're having another one. This one was at Fasig-Tipton. There's another one, I believe, happening at Keeneland coming up in a week or 2. And it looks like it's has some momentum. So if you haven't signed up, check it out. Light Up Racing.
And I did retweet the the show that we did with them as well.
Oh, good. Smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
Yes.
Show.
Okay,
right.
you ready to welcome our guest?
Bring him in. Joey. Let's see. There he is.
Hey, good morning, guys.
How you doing, pal?
Afternoon, I guess. It's morning where you are, but after lunch here.
No, yeah. Where are you?
I'm in San Antonio.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, the after lunch in Texas.
Are you
going to the Texas Breeze Up sale?
So no, we live in San Antonio. So we got home from Riyadh late Sunday night. We had an early flight out of there. So yeah, we're back home.
How was that flight?
Trying to process it all. It was a long flight, but great circumstances. So we were happy to be on it.
How long did you wait to have a glass of champagne?
Until we cleared the Saudi airspace because there's no alcohol.
Hour and a half into it, he's like, "Bring it on!"
Yeah,
we're like, it's time. Let's talk about Senor Buscador. That's why you're here. But before we do that, Joey, tell us. Sure. And you were on the show a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you ever, when you started in the business of horse ownership, did you ever expect anything like this?
No. I mean, no. The answer is no. Who expects to go, number one, get the invitation to run in the Saudi Cup, and then number two, to win it? No, it was never on our radar. Our goal has always been to compete at the highest level. And to me, that was, hey, if we could ever get a grade 1 stakes race, oh my gosh, that would be like lights out exciting, right? And then for that first one of our graded 1 stakes races to come in the Saudi Cup, no, it's beyond crazy. It's just wonderful.
But you had to have, listen, I'm talking for all of us and all horse owners in general. When we go into a race, no matter if we're 6-5 or 20-1, we kind of always think like, I think we can win this one, or we can, when you got on that plane to head to Saudi, did you think, what, we have a shot here?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're not going to run in a race we don't think we have a chance to win. I mean, I don't care how much money's out there. It's great to win the prize money, but we want to win races. And so if you see our horse in a race, we think we have a chance to win it. And, it's funny because you bring that up about Senor Buscador. He's run 17 times now. He's never been the favorite in his entire life except for one race, and that was at Sunland Park. We ran a comeback race for him in a stakes race at Sunland Park, and he was 1-9 or something. But other than that, he's kind of the Rodney Dangerfield of thoroughbreds. He's just gets no respect, and it doesn't matter to us. We know the horse, we love the horse, but give me some odds, and I'll bet on him every time.
Can we go back and just tell people who might not be familiar with his story, because he was a Derby hopeful at one point that got derailed.
Yeah. So, ever since he was a 2-year-old, Todd Fincher, our trainer, who, he doesn't mince words. He's not one of these guys that's going to tell you something he doesn't believe. He told me when he's a 2-year-old, he said, "This horse is a beast. Okay. You don't get horses like this very often, and you just don't." And so he told me that right after he ran his maiden race, which he won at Remington Park. And you got to remember, this was COVID, right? So, I mean, they let owners and trainers go to the races, and that was it. So he won his maiden race, came back in the Springboard Mile, which was, if I'm correct, I think it's one of the very first races where you can earn points on the Derby Trail.
Yep.
And, he did his typical break dead last, spot the field, 12, 15 lengths. He came flying, and he won that by 6.5, I think. And got if my memory serves, a 92 or a 93 buyer, which was the fastest dirt buyer of a 2-year-old route race that year. Incredible. And so, we knew we had a special horse.
And that's like December. So that's like end of the year. We've seen everybody run.
I want to stop you. I want to stop you real quick, Joey, because I'm curious at that point. Were you, and we probably talked about this before as well, were you inundated with offers at that point? Did you have people trying to buy the horse?
By noon the next day, I think I had 10 different people calling, trying to buy the horse.
And how did you just say no?
We talked about it. Sorry, I was going to try not to get emotional, but
no, that's all right, man. You're going to make me cry though.
Yeah. and you've probably seen it. It was the last horse my dad and I bred together. So
Yep.
I made an emotional decision, not a business decision. And, knock on wood, it turned out to be the right decision. So my wife and I talked about it, and we just decided, you know what? We've got Senor Buscador. He's ours. He looks like he's a fantastic racehorse. We're just gonna go along for the ride and see where it takes us.
Amazing.
So,
and then what happened? What
he chipped an ankle. I mean,
Yeah.
we go to the Risen Star where we think we got a really good chance. Everybody talks about the long stretch run at fairgrounds, and he didn't finish. He didn't have his come from behind late charge flying down the lane. And we thought, well, something's wrong. And anyway, long story short, he had a chipped ankle. So we sent him to Dr. Tommy Hayes in Elgin, Texas, who has worked on a couple of our horses, and he's a phenomenal veterinarian. Dr. Hayes took the chip out and said, good news, it didn't float around and do a bunch of soft tissue damage. So that was the right thing to do. And we didn't rush him. We gave him, I don't know, maybe 4 months off to recover from that. And then started back with a goal of running him at the Zia Park Derby for 3-year-olds, which is a big purse in the fall. And then Todd gets to the barn one morning, I don't remember, maybe 6 weeks out from the race, and the horse can't put his right hind leg on the ground. And he had a stall incident. We don't know what he did.
Yeah.
But his right hock on his hind leg was like almost cantaloupe size. I mean, it was enormous. And so that got infected, and then, had to have another surgery to clean out the infection because there's not much blood flow to that part of the leg. And so anyway,
now, your emotional decision that you make, you're a little bit going like, "Ooh, did I make a bad decision here?"
I generally don't look back, but you are correct. Yeah, I was second guessing myself a few times.
Yep.
So that's why, he missed all the rest of his 3-year-old year and half of his 4-year-old year. We didn't want to push him. Todd is an excellent horseman in my view. And he said, this is going to take time. It's going to take patience. And I said, Todd, we play the long game. We're not playing the short game. So let's do whatever we need to do. And thankfully he shepherded him through that and got him back on track.
It's unbelievable. Amazing story of patience. And that's, we preach a lot on this show, what you need to be a horse owner. Patience has to be up there as one of the number one things, Joey, is it not?
Well, if you don't have patience when you get into the horse business, it'll teach you patience because you don't have a choice. The horses come first, or at least in our view, they do. And so if they need time off, they need time off.
Joey, I want to talk a little bit about kind of his campaign this year because he's run. He ran the Breeders' Cup, right to the Cigar Mile, right to the Pegasus, and then right to the Saudi Cup.
Right.
I mean, is he just thriving on running right now? This is like a throwback horse. Like, we don't get to see good horses run this often.
Right. Yeah, I talked to Todd, after Breeders' Cup, and I said, Todd, do we need to give him time off or, what? He goes, no, I don't think so. He goes, this horse has just had a lot of bad luck in his career. Yeah. And so we looked at the Cigar Mile, and it was a 1-turn mile, which we thought perfect configuration for him. We like the distance. We like the 1-turn. It's a grade 2. It used to be a grade 1. Now it's a grade 2. And the horse was in good shape. He travels well.
Mm-hmm.
He run in 11 different racetracks in 9 different states in the U.S. So he's got more miles than I do. So we said, let's go. Let's try it. And then we get there, and he's training great. Todd says, honestly, he goes, I think this horse is just getting better. So what does it do? It rains, the night before. They seal the track, and it was a conveyor belt. If you weren't on the rail and on their lead, you didn't have a prayer. Yep. I mean, nothing closed all day long, and he closed from last to beat everything except Catch Hoist the Gold, who ran a phenomenal race.
Yep.
And so we were happy with that. He ran a good race despite the conditions. And then Todd and I had always talked about the Pegasus if we ever had that opportunity. And sure enough, he got the invitation, and we hauled him a lot of horses leave New York and go to Florida that time of year, and there's no flights because it's Christmas time, and they don't fly horses because of all the other stuff. So we had to trailer him to Miami, and
oh my gosh,
he left the day after the cigar. He was on a van headed to Miami. So
I got to be honest, going to the Pegasus, I had a lot of people who really liked Senor Buscador that day, and rewatching the race, and I think I watched it the other day for some reason. I thought at the quarter pole he was a winner. Like I was shocked actually that he didn't win, but I don't think it was that he hung at all. I think it was just that National Treasure, who's one of Michelle's favorite horses, just kind of dug in. That must have been. Tell us about that trip for Senor Buscador and Joey. What were you thinking down the lane at the Pegasus?
Yeah, I mean, that was really exciting. Fortunately, a lot of my kids could go to that race too, so we had a pretty good group there. But yeah, I mean, turning for home, you know, we're watching the race and we're seeing him getting closer and closer, and it looks like he's got the momentum to get there, and he just ran out of racetrack. Great effort, you know. National Treasure ran a great race. You know, hats off to him. Buscador was coming. I think if it's another, 30 yards or so, I think he wins the race, but it wasn't. So that's horse racing. So
that's all right. You cash your big check and you put him on a plane to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. I mean, it's no big deal.
What was crazy was the next morning, I mean, he's like rolling in the grass and jumping up and down and all feisty, as like he hadn't even run. So he's been recovering really, really fast from his races, which is nice to see. And he recovered very well from this last race. You know, they went to Dubai on Monday after the race. So he got there, settled in. Todd's assistant, Oscar, who's with him, reports that he's doing great. He's happy. He's, jumping around. So it looks like, so far anyway, knock on wood, all systems are go.
I have a dumb question. Where is his home base?
People have asked me that, and I said, honestly, I can't tell you because, he probably spent more time in California.
Racetrack can say, is he like, can we say like he's a Santa Anita based horse?
So after he won that little stake at Sunland Park, we took him to Oaklawn and ran in the handicap.
Yep.
And he ran a good race, but honestly, he probably wasn't really tightened down to run that far against that level of horses. But he left Oaklawn right after that to California, flew to California. And then he was there, from
all through summer and
April all the way through Breeders' Cup. So,
I think Pipey had him.
I mean, he was in Pipey's barn with Todd Fincher's men. But yes, he was in Mike Pipey's barn.
Correct. Joey, was that your first trip ever to Saudi Arabia?
Yes.
No, he went on vacation a couple times.
I don't know. How do I know? I don't know what Joey's doing. You think I know Joey's travel log? But tell us a little bit about the experience over there.
Fair enough. It was wonderful. I mean, they couldn't have been nicer. They did a great job organizing everything. They organized our travel, our hotel, getting us around while we were there. It was just a wonderful experience. The facilities there are just phenomenal. I mean, everything at the racetrack looks brand spanking new. The quarantine barn where we were was amazing. There's fans, there's cameras there. There's, I think, six or eight horses per barn. There's a little patch of grass that they planted out there. I mean, it is in the desert, so there's not a lot of grass, but they did have a patch out there for the horses. And they assigned a groom to us when we got there, and Oscar, Todd's assistant out there, said that man was fantastic, very helpful, knew what he was doing. Yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
Joey, one of the things Michelle, let me ask my question that we talked about before, and then you can go in because and this is timely because we talked about you being approached for a deal when he was 2. Now you're approached from a deal from the Saudis when he's getting to run. And in this particular case, you took the deal. Tell us a little bit about how that came to pass and what it all means. I've read a little bit about it. I know you were very adamant in saying, hey, we own the horse, we make the decisions. I read that quote by you. But just tell us how that all transpired.
Yeah, so
if you want to tell us how much it was for, it'd be great, but you don't have to.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, no. So right after the Pegasus, I mean, I started getting calls mostly from agents here in the U.S., and most of them were agents for riders. Hey, I know this guy in Saudi, and there's a Saudi prince here and a hedge fund gazillionaire there, and they all want to buy your horse. I said, well, that's nice. I appreciate that, but the horse isn't for sale. And then, they threw numbers at us, and I said, no, you're not understanding. The horse is not for sale.
Right.
So then that sort of morphed into, well, would you do, a racing only deal? I said, because I'm not letting go of the breeder's rights or the ownership. And then, so that, kind of worked its way out for a couple of weeks and nothing happened. And then I thought to myself, well, if any of these guys are serious, then it's going to get more serious as the race gets closer. So that's the way it happened. It happened right at the end. We ended up doing a 2-race deal for a minority interest in the horse, and it entitled our Saudi fella to use his racing silks, which is really important. A lot of the Saudis, they want to see their silks run in their premier race, which happens to be the richest race in the world. So, I mean, I get that. Yep. And, I had to talk it over with my family about, hey guys, it'd be nice to see our silks over there, but from a business perspective, does it make sense for us to do this? So it was a business decision. It was financially driven as a way for us to hedge our bets if we didn't win the race. Right. Yep. So that's how it came about. Sharaf, who ended up doing the deal with us, hey, he paid a significant amount. He took a big risk, and it worked out for him, and I'm happy for him.
I mean, I will say this, it was excited. He was very excited. You would have thought that he had owned this horse since he was born, like you guys, with the amount of excitement that he had.
Right.
But I do also, I noticed you didn't make the trophy presentation.
So we were intending to go. They sent an email to all the owners saying, if you win, you go, the Crown Prince presents the trophy. You have to take a COVID test.
Yeah.
Okay. So we went to the track. We took our COVID test. Anyway, after the race was total chaos. I mean, there was a lot of people.
It was pandalarium.
It was chaotic.
Really?
And then it was time to go for the trophy presentation. And I got to the point where you had to clear security for the Royal Guard for the Crown Prince.
They're crazy, by the way.
And the security wouldn't let me through.
Wow.
The security kept me from going through. So that's what happened. I mean, it didn't feel right. It was a big disappointment, but it was just, it wasn't intentional. I really don't think it was intentional. I think it was just one of those things that happened, and it's over. We're moving on.
Did you get a winner's picture with him, like with the horse?
No, they don't do that over there.
They don't?
No, there's no winner's circle. Any of the races, there's no winner's circle. The horse comes back.
Well, they bring him back and put the blanket and stuff on him. They don't take a picture then?
No. And then the horse leaves, and they do a trophy presentation, which you saw, which we weren't present for. But no, that's it. There's no winner's circle pick. I was looking at that all day long at the races,
showing her phone.
I have to show this. I got to turn off my my blurry thing, because I don't know if you guys got to see him. I don't know if you guys got to see him
that was the baseball
after
player.
the race at all.
Yeah, the baseball player. We can't see. It's
hold on.
Glaring.
Hold on. Give me a sec. Okay. He came right behind our set, right? He had 1 million Saudis hanging on him. I was worried they were going to try and ride him at some point. They were singing to him and chanting. And look at him. He doesn't even turn a hair. He's like, yeah, okay. They had a little bucket of water. He was kind of like, can I have that water? But he was the coolest dude.
Wow.
Look at him.
If you don't mind, Michelle, would you send that to me? Would you send that to me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I sent it to Todd that night, and I said, I can't believe this horse. I mean, these guys were waving flags. They were petting him. They were hugging him and kissing him. And he just stood there like this with his little ears pricked.
Well, they're lucky they didn't get a chunk taken out of him, because he's a biter. I mean,
is he really?
Oh man, yeah.
I would have thought he was a complete gentleman.
No, you do not. He's fine with you touching him anyway, but don't touch his head, because it's It's not good.
So
He's like
he took a big chunk out of the poor groom. I think that was at Miami at yeah.
He's the Adrian Beltre of horse racing. Oh, Joey liked that. He got that joke. Michelle's not doing
I want to know if have you watched back like the junior head cam footage of the race?
I have, and it has the audio as well. I mean, I don't guess I'd ever watched one of those, but
I'm going to try and stream it in here while we talk about it too.
The audio portion of that where he's just getting pelted,
hammered with dirt. Yeah.
And then the video at one point looks like there's something over the lens of the camera, and it's pretty cool.
And the great thing about his family watching the race too, that's been all over social media. That was here we go.
Here we go. I mean, like, he is so far behind the field. It was unbelievable. This is the end now, I think. But like, it was so crazy to watch him at the beginning of this. Let me see. Here we go. Okay. This is the here. Now this is the break. I mean, look, he breaks right with these guys.
Yeah.
And he just gets so far behind. I cannot believe the ground that he can make up. And it is wild.
He does that every time. You know, early in his career, you know, Todd and I talked about, and Todd talked to some riders. Yeah.
Unreal, right? Look at his little ears. His ears are my favorite.
Crazy.
That's amazing. So cool.
Yeah. So early in his career, you know, Todd talked to some of the riders about, hey, try to move him up, try to not get so far back. But he just refuses. So now we all just acknowledge it's him. He's going to run the race the way he wants to run the race. We'll just show up and see what happens.
It's smart.
So obviously he already went to Dubai. We're thinking Dubai World Cup. Do you have a plan beyond that? Or is this a one race at a time and let's see where he's at situation?
So our plan was, you know, before we won the race was we'll go to Saudi. Lord willing, he comes out of the race good. We'll go to Dubai. Then we'll bring him home. Probably give him a little time off, a little freshening. That trip can be really hard on these horses, I understand. And then obviously the goal would be to get him back and come to Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup. I mean, he likes the Del Mar track.
Yep.
The Santa Anita track wasn't that friendly to him. I mean, it seems like it favors the front end runners more so. And obviously we're never going to fit that mold. So, but he's run well at Del Mar. And so, yeah, that the goal would be to get him back for Breeders' Cup. You know, although he's 6 years old, because he missed so much time off with his injuries, he's pretty lightly raced. I think that was his 16th or 17th race.
So 18th race, yeah.
Okay.
And nice job, by the way, after all that time off, keeping him a full horse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have just yelled at him at that point, right? Like, yeah, he's going to have this time off. Let's just cut him.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've been high on him since he was a 2-year-old. So that part wasn't going to happen.
Any other good 3-year-olds in the pipeline right now?
Any more siblings?
Man. No, we have some really, really nice horses coming up. So after Buscador, we gave the mare some time off because Buscador was a May 6th foal and it was her 4th in a row. So we gave him a little time off. Then we bred her to Quality Road, and she lost that foal due to that placentitis that went through Kentucky that year.
The grass.
Yeah. So we lost that one. And then we bred her to Candy Ride. So we have a 3-year-old filly that we named Eye Candy. And Eye Candy won her first start in a maiden special weight back in November. And we were training her to run in the Sunland Park Oaks, but she came out of one of her works with a sore shin. So, I mean, x-rayed clean. We x-rayed it twice. It's clean, but we just decided to give her some time off. Then we have a 2-year-old filly by Hard Spun that we named Rose. And she's with Todd right now. And he's breezed her a couple times in company, and she comes in first every time. So we're pretty excited about her.
That's all you can ask.
And then we have a yearling colt by Authentic.
Oh.
That we named The Hell We Did. and he's still in Kentucky.
I like that.
And then she is carrying a filly by Into Mischief, and that filly's due sometime in the first part of May.
I've heard of that sire. He's going to be okay one day. I mean,
I hear he's thrown some runners, so hopefully we get one of those.
Considering what you got out of a mine shaft, I mean, I feel like no matter what direction you're going to go,
right?
And to be fair, she's been just an absolute blue hen. I mean, it seems like everything you've bred her to, she has thrown you a stone cold runner.
Absolutely. I mean, she is phenomenal. I mean, I couldn't. Of course, we drink the Kool-Aid over here. We're all in on Rose's Desert and every one of her babies because they've all been superior racehorses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're taking her back to Uncle Mo. That's where.
My favorite. Okay, this baby is going to be my favorite baby. Then whatever comes out with the Uncle Mo, because we're big Uncle Mo fans around here.
We're big Uncle Mo fans, Joey. Joey, what a pleasure! Thank you. I know how many you've probably been inundated with requests. We really appreciate you coming on the show today. We're rooting for Senor Buscador, but there's a big race at Santa Anita on Sunday now, and one or two of those runners could end up in Dubai, possibly. I don't want to. I'm gonna do your knock on wood thing because you and I may be there together.
Hey, if they're speed horses, bring them on. We need speed horses. We love to have a good run at.
All right, you might get a little taste of Shamu, but we'll see. But listen,
hey, and best of luck. I'll be watching for you. I'm pulling for you.
We appreciate that, Joey. We appreciate
your number 12 saddle towel that's over your shoulder.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Hey, congratulations. Congratulations.
You bet.
Thank you so much for the time.
Awesome.
You bet. I appreciate it.
All right, Joey. Be good.
Good luck Sunday.
Appreciate it, man. Joey Peacock joining us. Awesome.
That's my favorite interview we've ever done.
He was great. And deservedly so. I mean, everything they did, I mean, there's so much to that story. And you brought up a great point that they kept him intact through all that. Normally what happens is if a horse has an injury and then another injury and they're pretty big as they get older, you want to geld them to alleviate some of the pressure on their joints and on their ankles and on their knees. And, and so for them to have the foresight to not do that, it's really paid off. And I like that he learned a lesson too. He didn't sell his 2-year-old. Everything went badly. Thankfully, it turned around and went positive. But then he had this opportunity to sell a piece of the horse in this 2-race deal, and he took advantage of that, or he and his family. And I think that's really smart. And I think as a horse owner, the one piece of advice I would give is it's okay to be creative. Create these, hey, this is a 2-race deal. You're going to own X% for this much money and blah, 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 whatever it was. And it worked out for everybody. So he had the security, he had some insurance, he and his family, but yet the Saudi prince or businessman, whoever it was,
Sharif,
whoever it was, also benefited from everything and got his silks. I thought it was everything kind of came together. And that's what's so great about horse racing, Michelle, is we have these stories and we need to tell
now
them.
You have this pressure though, right? As Senor Buscador, you're kind of like the always under the radar guy that picks up the checks. And now you won the Saudi Cup. Now they're going to be see, you are really good. You're going to have to come in and deliver it again. I don't think
Joey feels any pressure right now, and I don't think Senor Buscador does either. I think they're always, like he said, he's been favored in one race in his life, and he was 1-9 that day. I think this horse is just one of those horses because he is the type of horse, unfortunately, that is a victim oftentimes of pace. So when you have those kind of horses, and I'm going to go back in the old days where you probably outdate you, Michelle, where it was horse like Vigors or La Zanzara or those type of horses that just came from way back. It's hard. It's hard to get that pace. We have one right now, obviously, on turf, but Balnikov is very similar to that, Michelle. If he gets some pace up front and he comes with that run, great. But if he doesn't, he can't get there. So it's really true. They say pace makes the race. And the same goes for front runners. If front runners are allowed to go slowly and they're not challenged,
or they can go fast by themselves. I think the key is the not challenged, right?
Yeah, not challenged. It's going to be interesting. That's why the big cap's going to be an interesting race, Michelle. Did you look at that field? I know it's coming up on Sunday now.
Yeah, I gandered at it. I haven't dived into it completely because I got it when we were out at the farm, but I did look at the overnight for it, so see who was in there. But we did. There were a couple other horses I thought that were going to be in that didn't end up
going?
The one got sick, Safi Joseph.
Long stocking.
No, Connor got sick and didn't come. So
Connor didn't come either. Yeah, so there were a couple of them in there.
Good field. Is it the greatest big cat field of all time?
Incarnate, Highland Falls, Mixto, Salesman, Newgate, Substansador, and New Grange.
Yep. Good field.
Could be fun. Exciting.
Yep. There's a lot. The card at Santa Anita is awesome on Saturday. I mean, you have the Buena Vista. That's the last race. That Ruby Nell's in there. A bunch of really good fillies are in there. You have the San Felipe. Obviously, you get a chance to see Nisos.
Yep. That's the only race on the whole card that's a little on the short side as far as field size goes. But I mean, we've got 10 in the Kilroe. We've got a couple of allowance races with 9. We've got a maiden special weight with 9. We've got a Calbred race with 8. We've got, so the Buena Vista has 11.
Yep.
Going to be a super, super great day on this Sunday.
Sunday. What else we got? Is that it?
So the full card for Saturday has been moved to Sunday. We will have now Monday racing, which we did not originally anticipate. So just keep that in mind. We have the Big Cap Beer Festival that has been also moved to Sunday, and the Great Grilled Cheese Tasting, which sounds delicious. We're also going to have Eric Greenspan and New School American performing in the Chandelier Room with that grilled cheese tasting. And if you are anywhere at the track and you smell something delicious, I can guarantee you it's the Farina pizza that they cook in the pizza oven. Like that's outside. It's so freaking good. It is literally my favorite pizza. So if you're around, get one.
Get a Farina pizza. Special thanks to Joey Peacock for joining us today. Michelle, you always does an incredible job of booking these guests, and you were again fantastic on the Saudi show. We look forward to seeing you at Santa Anita this weekend. Come out and see Shamu in the Big Cap. It's going to be a fun day. And there's not really a killer whale. That's just the nickname for New Grange. Do people know that?
By the way, I love when he's laying in his stall and he's like this, and he does look like a little killer whale with his little nose sticking up.
Julie gave him a mitt. Did you see that?
Yeah, if any horse needs a stuffy, it's Shamu.
Yeah, he does. He could use a stuffy. That would be fun. Maybe I call SeaWorld and we'll do a joint effort or something. I don't know. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. This is the Owner's Box. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Oh, bye, Spencer.